Hello again, and welcome to another edition of Stick to the Plan podcast. I'm Kevin. I'm here with Russ, and we do have a special guest in today. Hello, Russ. It's another Monday.
Wow. Look at that picture.
I know, right?
It's pretty clear.
Wow. Okay. Hey, it's another Monday.
It is another Monday.
They come around awful quick, Kevin. Welcome to the Stick to the Plan podcast. We had plans not to have a guest today.
Right.
And, I always do. And I thought about you, Lance. Then I get a phone call from Lance this morning. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, how about the show? All right, so anyways, we got Lance Lashway here today.
Hello.
You know what, Lance? I don't even know what your title is. You are a member of the...
I'm in
Hillsdale
nothing
County
right now.
Conservatives.
Well, yeah.
You're a nomad.
I'm vice chair of that, but
Yeah.
nothing in the party.
Right. You don't have a fancy title like I have in
No.
the GOP. Probably for the better in some ways.
It's kind of nice, actually.
Yeah, a lot of stress. A lot of stress off.
I'm
Sure.
kind of shackled sometimes. I probably not, but I probably am. Let's talk about the background today. So, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're winging it, Lance.
We always are.
We always do.
Constantly.
By the way, Lance, your last time you were on our show several months ago
It's been a while.
was our largest viewed show ever. I don't know why.
We've
had way cooler people than you on there.
Really?
Was it the last time he was on, or it was the first time he was on?
I think both the shows were.
Both
Yeah.
were. They were,
Were they both? Okay.
But I also, Kevin and I talked about this, and I think you and I have too. You got a lot of haters.
Well, you're going to jinx us. There's going to be 6 people that watch this.
Hey, 6 people?
Either you
That's
love
the.
Lance or you hate him, man. That's what I found.
I'll take 6 people though. By the
I
way.
don't know what's there to hate. I don't really know.
No, the haters find things. They're pretty good at
I
it.
think you're pretty good, old boy. To tell you the truth. But the background. So last spring, about this time, maybe a little earlier, I went. Who was it? Oh, I took Sean Lee to a Trump event on the tarmac at the Saginaw County or whatever they call it airport, and it was windier and shit, but warm. But you didn't notice how warm it was because of the wind.
Yeah.
And I didn't wear a hat that day, and I remember getting burnt pretty good. But this was Trump's plane, a picture I took of Trump's plane as we were standing on the tarmac waiting for Trump to come for a Trump event. So it's one of the better pictures I have in my gallery.
No, it's actually a really clear
I thought
picture
it was a
too.
professional picture you
No,
ripped off the internet.
no, that was that. Nope, I took
Like
that
it's
picture.
AI or something.
Right.
I was. Oh, there's a little deceiving there, but I was pretty close. Wasn't too far away from that there, and I have another one of Trump coming down the stairs, but it isn't as centered as well. Here's Trump, and I hurried up and took a picture coming down those steps, and or else we'd use that. But no, I that's a super cool picture. It was a great fun day. We had VIP seating, but the VIP seating sucked. And I had Vance Patrick, the chairman of Oakland County. He had gotten there way before us and was able to obtain front row general public seating. So that's why we're front row.
Special.
Well, he saved 5 or 6 spots, and he's like, hey, come on over, because he got there early, because I didn't get there early. If not, I'd been off to the side, which I wouldn't have been able to get this picture. But that is a real picture, and it's cool. Kicks, Chris Baird, the Jackson GOP chief of staff, he's got one a little better than I got. He was at a different event.
Oh yeah, he showed that when he was on the first time he was on the stream.
He's very proud of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for him. But that was a good time. I did get burnt that day.
Yeah, and if you think about the picture, like actually, even the flags, the way the flags are set,
Yeah.
it looks.
Like Lance said,
That's
you
good.
Think, you
Yeah,
look
like-
pull it off the
I
internet.
totally thought you got it off the internet.
Yeah, I sure. Yeah, it was a good one. Tudor Dixon was there that day. Of course, she goes to a lot of them, but Tudor was on a. Sometimes she's like that. She has a mouth on her.
That's why I like her.
She
Well, there's other
she
reasons,
was,
but
she was not holding back on her raunchy comments that day. Had the place going. Former, those not from Michigan, former candidate for governor, who lost. I hear she's considering one of them again.
She didn't get much help from. The
Yeah,
establishment.
No, they hosed her.
yeah,
They
I think she was
never
she was a throwaway candidate that
Yeah,
year.
it
They're
was.
like, let's regroup for the next one.
They wanted Whitmer to win. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they knew they didn't have a chance to beat Whitmer with who they had. at
So
the
they
time.
went in with somebody they knew was weak, so they didn't have to put a lot into it.
Well, yeah, they didn't have to waste a candidate. They didn't have to burn a candidate. Happens
You
all
know,
the
they
time.
did away with Ryan with the J6 crap. but
Yeah.
We just had Ryan here in Jackson. He was killing it, by the way. He did a great job.
They might have been a little upset that Shirky couldn't run.
That's true, because those Hillsdale guys did ruin that.
Those damn Hillsdale guys.
They did.
Every time. That's why we can't have nice things.
South Park.
That's why we can't have nice things. It's because of the Hillsdale guys. I've lived that for the last few years. Not as much as you guys, but I have lived it.
I get used to it after a while.
So, you talk about former Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey being from Jackson. We dealt with him a long time. And, yeah, we had our problems with Shirkey, but we also, being the Jackson people, we were like, yeah, he's poised to be the next governor, and it'd be great to have a governor that's from Jackson. And
Have we ever had a governor from Jackson?
why would we?
Oh, good point.
But
Mahoney's not going to be
that quickly
governor?
deteriorated leading into Hillsdale and the great work that you did to get the Shirkey out of the way. But I think Shirkey would have been a viable candidate to beat Whitmer.
Well, it depends on which side of his mouth you wanted to talk out of.
Yeah, these politicians, that's what they do real well, and he was one of the best at that. So, anyways,
It is a skill set.
the super hot Tudor Dixon was our candidate, and that was the bright part of Tudor.
For sure.
She was hot. She is hot,
You're going to have two women running against each other.
And
Yeah, I was hoping it was end in a pillow fight. Never did. Not even once.
not even once.
Not even once.
Not even once. we can imagine that all we want, but
And we wonder why so many people don't go vote.
Yeah,
Don't
well,
get interested.
exactly. Well, I mean, 'cause
Maybe
during
they-
that time, there was a hot Whitmer transformation. I mean, hotter.
she looks like
Whitmer.
an alien now. When they do the duckbill lips to the extent that she has, and the cheek work, and all of them do it. Kristi Noem's done it. All the hot governors and high profile.
Not Marjorie Green Taylor.
politician.
Not-
But for
not
some
my
reason,
girl.
I see Marjorie Taylor Green.
Yeah, Taylor Green, yes.
she's
all
natural.
She's all natty. All natty.
Yeah, she's got her appeal. That's for sure. She's
Yeah.
got a mouth on her too.
Oh, God, yeah, she does.
Which is exciting. But when I see Kristi Noem, I'm like, ooh, she's
Yeah,
good
yeah,
looking. And kind of weird with all the work that's done. But
She's from North Dakota.
yeah, you got to do that.
they're a little
All of
weird.
a sudden, Republican Party has some good-looking Republican women.
There is a few.
Yeah. The Democrats kind of had the stranglehold on that
Right
one
here
for a
in
while.
Yeah,
State,
it looks
there's
like
a
it's
couple.
turning back around.
Yeah, they had AOC, who I never thought was that attractive. She was
Don't-
all right.
But don't you get the alien feel out of Gretchen Whitmer?
I do. I don't. Have I ever told you that I think the deputy governor, whatever his name is,
Gilchrist.
he looks like a human suit from Men in Black.
Yes.
Like I'm waiting for him to
Yeah, shed
push
his
a button and it opens his face and a little alien
Who-
jumps out.
there was somebody. that
He's like
appeared in
7 foot tall too.
Yeah. And I think he's running for governor.
He is. He
Is he
announced his
officially
candidacy. Yeah.
That side is stacked up. We got a lot of people. I don't know.
Yeah, a whole bunch of I don't
That's
know.
bids for
At
real.
my feet.
And of course, the Mike Rogers for Senate, he announced officially today. I'm not comfortable with it, guys. He couldn't win with Trump on the ballot. How's he going to do it?
I don't know why the Republican Party keeps letting him do it.
So, I had a phone call. First, Todd Gilman, 5th District Chair, had a phone call the week before I did, directly from Mike Rogers. And I guess Todd asked him some pretty hard questions. And knowing Todd, he probably did.
I'm sure he did.
For sure.
And Mike Rogers says, mentioned, well, let's get everybody in a room in the 5th District and let's ask the hard questions. I'm willing to answer them. And I said, Todd, we need to do that. We need to do that. And you get an answer out of Todd whether we should or not. And then a week later, I got a call personally from Mike Rogers. And I thought, well, I better not be a wimp here. So I went at him kind of hard. Kind of what I just said. And a little bit like Shirky, he's a good talker.
Very good.
You get off the phone thinking, he ain't a bad guy, this and that.
But you didn't any questions answered, I'm sure.
No, nothing's coming to mind right now.
And was it with you or with Todd that he kind of shied away from the idea? He's like, well, yeah, we could do that, but there's, I don't want.
Well, politicians do that. I don't blame him.
Right, yeah.
He don't want that recording in a Facebook moment of I gotcha. Mm-hmm. He just wants a room of people asking hard questions.
Well,
no, he doesn't.
But the thing is he could take a cultivated speech, 100% safe that anybody with a general knowledge of editing can make it look bad.
And then when a Shane Trejo comes at him with one of them super hard questions, and Shane's notorious throughout the state of not being a Mike Rogers fan. He's very outspoken about it. Of course, we'd have Shane there. When Shane has that, he can always have the fallback. It wasn't like that, unless it's recorded, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get him. I wouldn't mind a private meeting. Todd and I have since had that conversation. We should put that together. Now, Todd said that we should turn it into an event because Mike Rogers indicated to him he don't care how many people are there. My impression was like 20 key people.
I think it'd be safer if he's worried about getting clipped. Then I would recommend getting 20 key people probably on your team, as opposed to just anybody.
I think that was my impression. What Mike Rogers was referencing and allowing us to do. Todd said we could do any way we want. I wouldn't mind 100 in the room. We'll put them right here in the.
I was saying you've got a couple hundred over there.
Over where?
In your new building, in your area.
We do 300 in there.
Right.
That is the. By the way, that is the name of the episode. It's the new home for the JXN GOP. So.
Is it?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about.
Yeah, I figured that we would. I just wanted to.
This week is a very important week for the Jackson GOP.
Yes, it is.
Lance. We went into. Oh, by the way, if anybody has been following, so it's somewhat public. Garrett Soldano on the Grassroots Army had State Senator Jonathan Lindsay on there and kind of pegged him down on if he's considering a run for U.S. Senate. Uh-huh. And Jonathan is undecided, and man, nobody answers questions so honestly than Jonathan Lindsay.
That's why
he's my favorite.
He's
so
great.
Organic and so smart and everything, but down with the people. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. So all of us that know Jonathan real well are hoping that he does run for the position. First thing Mike Rogers told me is, I've talked to Jonathan. He goes, his first million though is going to have to be getting his name out there. And you're right. Everybody statewide knows who Mike Rogers is. It's hard if you're in the political circles. You know who Senator Lindsay is, but if you're outside of that and live in northern half of Michigan, you don't know who he is. So there is that battle, and I'm sure Senator Lindsay is considering how that would work out.
Everybody knows Mike Rogers, but they also know that he's leads establishment.
Let me tell you, you're not going to find anything at all to put a negative check mark for John Lindsay.
No, if there was something, they would have already found it.
The beautiful political
squeaky
family,
clean.
Beautiful political family, wife, children, live on a mini farm with goats and whatever, and perfect Republican voting record, but not not so far right where it turns off the people. I've had people in the middle, let's say, come and say, "Wow, he's something."
Yeah.
He resonates to
He
people.
talks the talks and walks the walk.
And I think
He's very relatable. He's well spoken to the point where you're like, oh, I think I like him.
in his
Could we dare call him a statesman?
I know. Is
I
he
don't even
is
know
he a
if
real
that's-
politician? Jesus.
I don't even know if he's a
Right.
statesman. He's genuine in his remarks. I haven't found in the 3-4 years I've known him where he's not genuine in what he's saying.
Well, that's the opposite. So the politician is like they run more for and keep the government in charge, and like they represent the government. A statesman, they
Right.
represent the people.
Well, if that's the definition, he
Well,
is a true statesman. Then.
The actual Oxford Language Dictionary definition of statesman: a skilled, experienced, and respected politician, leader, or figure.
See,
That kind of fits. I mean, that does fit.
I know.
It's kind of broad, but
I encourage you. All of us in the room here, we love Jonathan, and he's gonna make the right decision. Him and Allison, when the time's right, we encourage it. We hope for the best. Then we got to find. Although it's an easy district, we got to find a good Republican to replace him when he wins.
and that's
Well,
gonna
that's
be,
the thing,
then we got
losing here.
we got to replace Lindsay. That's
You know.
a feat in itself.
But this is a good district to do it in.
yeah.
I'll tell you, Mike Rogers did tell me when I brought up Jonathan. He says, I've talked to Jonathan, blah, blah, blah. And he also said to me, he goes, I promise, Russ, and I seen Mike Rogers say the same thing on the Grassroots Army, because after Lindsay, Soldano had him on the Grassroots Army. And he goes, I promise I'm only going to hold the seat for 2 terms. And I'm thinking, now, those are 6-year terms, so that's 12 years, isn't it? So I'm off. My thought was, that allows Lindsay that opportunity to have to consider, but he'll term out from state senate before that 12 years is up. We got to do something with Lindsay.
He can be governor.
Where do you think
He should
on
be
that?
governor.
Because he's considered both. Where are you at?
I'd rather him be governor because I don't want him to leave the state.
I agree on that too. Man, my favorite governors are people from the business community. I loved Rick Snyder when he was first elected. I got to where I didn't like Rick Snyder in his second term. I don't know why I feel that way. And not that Lindsay doesn't know business, but I don't know. I'm feeling this U.S. Senate seat with Lindsay.
Yeah?
I don't want him to leave either, though.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I don't really want him.
Yeah.
We got too much going on here.
Man,
We lose one of our own
we're
guys.
so lucky that he represents us directly. He represents the whole state. He don't care what district you're in. But Jackson County, he only represents 4 townships in our western edge of the county. And he rarely misses a meeting we have. He is everywhere. He represents his people, man.
Well, he just got a little tiny corner of Hillsdale, and he comes to our meeting.
It's amazing. Call on the phone. It don't matter. He might not answer. He's busy. He'll call you back. He'll talk to anybody. It's amazing. He'd be a great candidate for either one of those positions. I'm nervous about it, though. I think we all are. We're going to put our guy right out there, huh?
He's fun to argue with.
What happens if he just loses and then just disappears altogether? That's a little
So he would be
nerve-wracking.
corrupted by the...
Nah.
I don't think that.
He would
I
never
don't
be
think that's gonna
corrupted by the
happen.
U.S. Senate swamp. You can't corrupt him with
No.
the U.S. Senate swamp. You know what I mean?
Well, there's a big difference between now and, like, with Trump being in and actually doing what
True.
Trump's doing. Things are changing quick.
That's true. I like to remind everybody, although Lindsay doesn't put as much stock in it as I do, he was the first candidate endorsed in Michigan, endorsed by Trump, back when the Trump endorsements meant something.
Right?
Yeah, I don't mean as much now.
No.
Actually,
Everybody's got Trump
I've got a
now.
Trump endorsement.
yeah,
Right.
me and Lancey may have
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
By the way, John's in the chat. Says he says, nice Trump plane, but Senator Lindsay is the best statesman, conservative, Republican, or politician in the great state of Michigan. Hi, John. How are you?
He definitely is.
He is, though.
well respected by those of us that know who he is.
Yeah.
So,
And I think a lot more people know who he is than.
probably. You know.
And the other thing that I was going to bring up is that whenever someone brings up, well, I don't know if he has enough exposure. How often do you, if you're outside of the political world, do you actually know? Like, who knew Gretchen Whitmer before she was the governor? I didn't know who the fuck
She was a U.S. Or a state senator, just like Lindsay. I think she held a couple of terms, where Senator Lindsay's in his first term. But you're correct, Kevin.
But yeah, most people don't know.
I think of this. No one knew who Garrett Soldano or Ryan Kelly was until they surfaced running for governor.
Who knew?
You don't know who Garrett Soldano was.
Who knew who Barack Obama was before he became president? People in Illinois?
Yeah, he was a community organizer.
Yeah,
he organized the community.
There's also a big difference between the Democrats running a candidate and the Republicans running a candidate, because they just run one pretty much.
Yeah.
And they'll back them the whole time, while the Republicans are running 16 people.
Yeah.
Well, in 2016, I remember the giant debates with 12 people.
We do kill each other in the primary, and then that sets us off on the wrong foot in the general.
Yep.
They use that shit against us, you know. Even the Republicans said this about so-and-so. Now, the field for Democratic governor on the Democrat side for Michigan, I don't know, there's a few on there now. Benson, Gilchrist. I thought they were all bubs. Maybe the scenario, maybe they'll all pile on.
Yeah, load it.
And run into a scenario.
Well, now that the Democrat Party's on fire, I imagine it's going to be a little bit more chaos.
Yeah, then you got Duggan, who sidestepped and is running as an independent. You know, hey, Duggan's a popular Detroit mayor. I don't know how he's going to win as an independent, but he can be a spoiler.
The most successful independent.
And you don't have to worry about primary.
Yeah.
Right.
The most successful independent is what? Bernie Sanders? I mean.
Yeah. You notice in U.S. Senate, anybody that's got an I in front of their name is usually a Dem. I don't know any of them that has an independent in front of their name that is a conservative. I mean, there might be one out there.
I'm sure there is, but.
Joe Manchin, didn't he step down? But he kind of left the Democratic Party or something. I don't know. I don't think he's running anymore.
Kind of a waste of time to be independent.
Yeah, third parties are rough. I mean, I was a big supporter of the Libertarian Party, and I mean they have the best odds, but still they're not good.
If they just get with the Republicans and we
just all team together.
Yes.
Yeah.
So remember, Trump promised the Libertarians he'd put a Libertarian on his cabinet, and I don't think he ever did do that.
Are there any that's any good?
I just lost his name.
Yeah.
He's actually a comedian. Dave Smith.
Okay.
Dave Smith. They want him
like a normal guy.
Yeah, he's pretty normal.
Like a normal guy, not the other guy that's always ran for president, smokes weed on.
No, not Vermin Supreme, not Vermin Supreme.
I mean, I like the guy.
He's cool. You know, I mean, he's right, except for the whole unicorns and space thing. But I mean, maybe he's right about that.
How do you know there's not unicorns?
Exactly. Maybe.
Kevin loves unicorns. Unicorns and rainbows.
That's a unicorn farting a rainbow, as a matter of fact.
Kevin loves unicorns and rainbows. Is there a message to that?
Someone said, "Hey, I'd really like to see a unicorn farting a rainbow." So I went to AI and made a unicorn farting a rainbow.
So I watched a comedian one time. I forget which one, and he was expressing his concern that the LGBTQ community stole the rainbow. Every one of us, when we were little kids, would put a rainbow in the background.
Would we, Russ? Or was it just you?
The rainbow was a rainbow. When you're a little kid, you put a rainbow back there in the sun, and your little goofy crayon drawings. And now, if your son comes home with a rainbow, you're like, oh gosh, we have an issue here.
Gotta start
so
praying
how
the
dare
game.
you steal the rainbow from normal people?
That's all they do, steal stuff.
They do. I don't know. Maybe Jackson GOP should
just do a rainbow.
some rainbow shirts.
Next week we will have a
Why'd you steal the rainbow, Jackson GOP? I mean, rainbows are cool, man.
Rainbows are sweet.
We had white hoodies made, and I tie-dyed mine rainbow's color.
Oh, yeah.
Republican Party.
Why wouldn't you?
Right?
Sounds like an idea.
I mean,
Can't drink pop today to spit everywhere.
Yeah, don't do that.
I wanted to talk about, and Lance, you might not be up to speed. You got some stuff written down here. I thought it was going to be me and Kevin. I'm happy you're here today. But Kevin All right, let's explain something. The Jackson GOP is marketing podcast video services,
Video and audio.
and audio to conservative political organizations and candidates. Okay, we're going to ask for a small donation for our time, but if you're a candidate, local candidate here, it's real conservative. You could be in a non-partisan race or something like that. We're going to put you on, whether you have money or not. Our job is to elect Republicans and elect good conservatives. So this studio is available to anybody in that category. You know, maybe it's a little fundraiser for the Jackson GOP, or maybe it's just helping us get good people elected, or whatever. But this is Kevin's studio. It's the Grandma's Boy
Productions.
Grandma Boy Production, and he runs a business. He's a subleaser here in the Jackson GOP suite. He runs a separate business, and he does podcast services for anybody, for any reason. And one of his clients is John Wilson. And John Wilson is known in Jackson County. He's ran many campaigns, not successful. He's always that guy of just calls you out in a unoffensive way on your shit when city council, county commission, whatever. He's just that guy. He has been for years. I came up when I was new in the political world. John Wilson was already here, and I used to go to city council meetings. I learned a lot off John. You know, John's effectiveness.
We're taking it back, boys. We're taking it back.
I forgot where I was going now with this.
Sorry.
But,
I don't even know.
What's John's show called?
Hits Home Jackson.
Hits Home Jackson premiered last week, and he talked about issues going on in Jackson County and city government. He did have a 20-minute intro, which kind of took up some time. I really think that's going to be a great stream.
Yeah,
Hits Home Jackson, because John's going to be able to sit down and get right into issues. He did have to waste 15, 20 minutes of time explaining why he's doing this. Okay, that's off the table now. I think it's going to be a great stream.
On business.
But they talked about emergency sirens here in Jackson, Kevin, and you're aware.
Yeah.
You're his co-host.
Yeah.
And what happened is 2 weeks ago when we Lance is going to take a nap. See you later. Drive careful.
There we go.
I was like, hold on, I got it.
Oh,
I got you. Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Boo.
It looks like a Coke commercial. So we had the tornado here a couple weeks ago, statewide. Southern Michigan was hit, relatively hard by tornadoes and bad storms. And I was at home. I had plans to leave for Grand Rapids for an event. And I was going to try to beat the storm. Thank God I decided to wait till after the storm, so I would have drove right through it, and I would have been blown.
I drove through it.
I would have been blown into some cornfield in Ionia County because there was a lot of wreckage up there. But I'm sitting at home, and I'm getting old, so I don't really need too many alerts to tell me that things don't look good outside, right? My phone alerted, tornado warning. I live near emergency siren, right? I hear it the first Saturday of the month go off.
Right at noon.
Let me tell you, my siren did not go off till 15 minutes after the storm passed. And I remember thinking that was weird.
Is the all clear?
Is that what it is?
Come on out.
Well, John Wilson talked about that. In 2006 or 2007, same thing happened where the tornado the tornado alarm went off, and then 15 minutes later the tornado ripped through Jackson.
So, listen, the bottom line here in Jackson County, I don't know about statewide, they're ineffective.
Yeah, that's
mine went off late. Come to find out, Darius for Fox 47 had an article right after that about some that didn't come on at all throughout Jackson County.
Yeah, it sounds like the northern areas and as well as the city.
John's neighborhood.
Yep, the Queens area. Yep.
So they decide that following Saturday, I think, that they're going to retest them all, and they took firefighters and cops and put them at every siren around the county, I guess, and set them off to see, hey, which ones work and which ones don't. And they come back and said, these 3 or 4 don't work. Well, they didn't list the one near my house. Okay, mine might have worked during the test. It was 15 minutes late. I think there's a huge issue going on here. John's point was, someone needs to be held accountable for that. I don't even think John hit this. There's a cost associated with this.
Oh, of course.
They're activated from our 911 dispatch center when the National Weather Service creates or issues a tornado warning.
Like when our phones go off.
Mm-hmm.
So my phone went off, and 15 minutes later my siren went off. People's phones went off in Jackson County. No one even got a siren. I'm going to twist this, make this worse. I read an article this morning, I think it was MLive, Spring Arbor Township, theirs hasn't worked in years. And they claim that it's 60 years old. Okay, well, I remember replacing these and doing a big thing countywide, and I usually do get mixed up with time frame, 5 years compared to 20, but 60, and even looking at it, well, it hasn't worked in a long time, and one of the neighboring townships firefighters said, hey, I'm a smart guy, we'll fix it for you. And so it's going to cost $8,000 to fix it or something like that. So Spring River Township's going to vote if they want to peel out the money to fix the local siren. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm a township official. I didn't know that's on my plate. I'm going to have to ask, is that on my plate as a township? Or is this a county thing?
No, it's township.
Okay.
See, John claimed it was a county thing.
County's in charge of it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Are we having issues, Kevin?
No, I'm just getting sound quality.
All right.
It's coming through fine.
So,
it's just fixing
I think we have a debacle, but then I'm with John. Where's the accountability here? Then it hit me. Do we need these damn things anymore?
That was going to be my question. Like, we got our phones. Everybody has a phone. All the kids have phones. Everybody has phones.
Okay. I do have a 92-year-old relative. She lives on her own here in town. She doesn't have a phone. She doesn't have a smartphone. Now, just like me, because she's way older than me, I can, all right, Channel 6 and Channel 10 is going to tell you.
Right. You can't tell me she doesn't have the radio on or she doesn't have news on.
The potential for a storm is coming. There's a way for her to access this. She does watch TV.
Well, that's the next thing. Back 60 years ago, 80 years ago, when these things were built, not everybody had a TV.
True.
So, anyways, there's that percentage of people who don't have a cell phone, very few. She probably has cable. And, just like me, I can look outside and go, yeah, things don't look too good. That looks tornado or a bad thunderstorm. Bad thunderstorms have been worse on my property over the years than a tornado.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, those straight line winds have done some damage to, over the years. And so it does make me wonder, are they necessary anymore?
Well, a good example. I was driving down, during that storm, I was driving down 127, just north of Mason. I saw a tornado come down, tear up a field, jump over the highway, and disappear. I never heard a siren. I mean, my phone was going off. But before that, I went up and I looked up at the sky and went, ooh, this isn't good. Like, I mean, if you've lived in Michigan longer than, if you're an adult in Michigan, you should be able to go, uh-oh.
So I got to ask you a question.
They got radio, they got TV, and they got a cell phone.
But tornadoes
all things that didn't exist.
They're so spontaneous that, I mean, that's why a lot of times these alarms don't go off until after, because it could be clear skies and then boom, a tornado, and then I guess we
If
push the
anything,
button.
they're giving you a false sense of security.
Here's the problem. A couple of years ago, a tornado ripped through one of our communities in southern Michigan in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Problem.
Those are the worst.
I wouldn't hear the siren. I wouldn't hear the tornado. I don't know. The skies look bad. Normally, you have a thunderstorm prior to a tornado, and it might wake you up. So there's an issue. A lot of times they're in the daytime because the heat of the day creates the situation for
the hot and the cold is what it
right,
means.
ideal tornado. But
or cold and hot.
Yeah,
you don't get warm.
It doesn't matter which way. It's all the same.
They didn't get warned. They bitched too that, hey, we didn't have a warning. It's only in the last couple of years that my phone alerts me.
Oh yeah,
one thing for sure, if you get rid of them, a lot less people will be bitching all the time.
I think so too.
If you don't expect it, then you don't expect
This
it.
comes up in my township what to do. I want that serious conversation is, well, what's it cost? How effective are they? And do we need them anymore? And somebody might say, Rush, you're crazy. I don't know. It's a
I don't think you're crazy.
consideration. What's the cost? If it's minimal, all right, keep them.
Yeah.
But they got to work. False sense of security.
Yeah.
If you're depending on that siren, don't do it anymore.
Your phone's going off. Your TV's saying, "Hey, there's a tornado on the way." Well, the siren ain't went off yet.
Oh,
Yeah,
I got a question for both of you.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever went to the basement because of a tornado?
I have, just because Grandma would make me, but...
How about you?
We go out on the porch and watch.
Yeah, I used to go across... I have a picture, I don't know where it's at, of a water spout on Center Lake, because I was like, the alarms are going on. I went out on a dock. Watch it.
Right?
Well, in that
Yeah, I've watched one back in the farm, 100 acres.
Yeah.
We stand on the porch and we watched it touch down in the woods and go off.
It's crazy.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it happens so fast.
I've never went to the basement. I've been real close to them. Maybe should normal people, but I'm like that too. I usually step out and watch, and I think, well, if I see the damn thing, I'm out. I'll figure it out then. I've never had to go to the basement.
It's not that the wind
Never
is
went to the
blowing,
bathtub
it's what
either.
the wind is blowing.
Your chances of getting hit are pretty slim. Now, that water spout you filmed, actually a long time ago.
Yeah, I was in high school.
19 years old. Turned into, we watched that develop on our lake.
Yeah.
You recorded it.
Yep.
And it ripped off the lake and ripped a 5-mile path.
Yeah, because
to your old girlfriend's house over on North Green Acres.
Yeah, way over.
Drive.
Yeah, because I watched it
Shortcut.
jump out, come down the lake, jump off the lake, just destroy a small section of normal wood panel fence, and then just disappear, and then went a couple miles down and just wreaked havoc.
Took the 5-minute path from Center Lake out to
Yeah.
Lakeland Hills Golf Course area.
Yep.
Nice little path. Just a lot of damage. But yeah, that's what I taught my kids. Yeah, go out and record it.
Yeah.
Well, awareness.
I have pictures. I wish I had the video, but I don't know where that picture is. I gotta
If
find.
you're
that was a
hiding in
cool
your
picture.
basement all the time, you don't know what they look like or what it looks like when they're coming. Like, how are you ever going to know?
Well,
Just hide in the basement.
when this last storm we had, although I've heard of the calm before the storm, I've seen a couple of tornadoes or whatever. I think I was just in the exact right environment where I experienced that calm before the storm. Like, it was almost deafening how quiet, because it literally was raining sheets, stopped, and then all of a sudden it was like the pressure changed so much, like my
surreal.
ears were about to pop. And then next thing, the loudest growl I ever heard in my life. And I mean, I was probably only 100 yards away from this tornado. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I wasn't going 90, because I would have been right through the middle.
Right?
So when I was a township firefighter, which is many years ago now, we weren't storm watchers, but you were typically out in the storm because of calls, damage, trees in the road.
Yep.
And additionally, there are storm watchers out there. They go out and say, hey, there's a tornado, however they do that. But we used to report them. Occasionally, we had reported a few being out and about as a firefighter. And I've seen them only from a distance. The only one I really did see, actually, in my life, like I'd say, that's a tornado, is that one you recorded, Kevin, because that did.
Yeah, that was.
We see water spouts create themselves a lot on the lake.
Well,
They create themselves and die. This
Yeah.
one just got bigger and took water
That's
with it and tore.
why hurricanes. The worst hurricanes are the ones that just sit over the water and they just pick up that water.
Yeah.
Just
That's
the
what creates
warm or the cold.
That's
Yeah.
what creates the storm surge. It sucks it
Yeah.
in and then brings it back.
Yep. Well,
and then floods everything.
Especially in the Gulf of Mexico, why they get so bad, is because that's such warm water.
Oh.
That cold storm is picking up all that warm water and it's just
We need to get a
fueling it.
meteorologist on here one day.
Well, they happen all over. Hayfields are really funny.
Oh, that would.
Oh,
be-
yeah.
You're raking hay and you got that nice fluffy windrows all down the field, and then a little tornado goes through and it screws up all of them.
Well, one thing I learned when I was younger, and
You're right.
Yeah, all the time.
in Hillsdale, you're actually on the outside of this. If you go to the top of the tower building here in Jackson and you look around, Jackson is in a valley. And
Yeah, we have been-
who's on the outside of the valley? Hillsdale. And so literally most of the tornadoes they'll hit outside the valley and then they kind of just skip over us because it is a lower laying area.
That's always been said. There is a little truth to that.
If you
We
go
are
to the
in a
top, you can
itty-bitty
see the edge of the valley. I mean, it's
Anyways, that's
that's-
interesting. Just to add to Hit Home Jackson show.
Oh, yeah,
A conversation
I don't know what
that was had.
next week.
that I picked up on.
Yes, sorry, John. The Gulf of America. Yes, the Gulf of America.
Oh my God, Kevin, we
Can't
did not
mess that
catch
up.
him. We didn't catch him on that one either.
No one did. John got me. I mean,
Man, I had Trump scheduled for next week's show, and he ain't coming.
no,
out.
he ain't coming out. Damn it.
So we don't. Reason why we don't have Trump next week because Kevin screwed it up.
They ain't called the Gulf of America.
Just like the AP. Get out of here if you're not going to call it Gulf of America.
All right. Have a good day, guys.
Kevin, is Grandma's Boy podcast in the press room? Yeah, with the hot press lady now in DC? Because
I keep applying, and they keep telling me no.
Well, keep applying.
And they just send me an email that says no. That's no explanation, just no.
All right, enough of sirens. Don't count on the sirens.
Yeah,
Jackson
no.
County.
Look at the sky.
In Hillsdale, the sirens still work down there?
When I was in town for a little bit, they would work.
They
It's
work
just-
out in the boondocks.
It's just one guy with a crank.
Frontier has one, and I think it's iffy sometimes.
Yeah, just one guy with a crank.
So, this is another firefighter story. You see those? They're huge round sirens.
Yeah.
Back in the day, the fire barn used to have them. Matter of fact, they would activate it if there's a storm or if there's a fire. That's how they let the firefighters know there was a fire in the community before pagers and stuff.
Yeah.
And we were in an old fire station that's since been a new one in Napoleon Township. Beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, very nice.
But we had an old shitty one, and they had the old siren there, and it was manual. And one of the young guys I was with was like, I heard this don't even work, and someone pushed it, and the siren went off. And I remember running for my car because the Napoleon fire chief at the time, who was a great guy, can show you a lot, but he wasn't always easy to get along with. And I didn't want to get blamed on that one. But yeah, you push the button. It wasn't automatic back then. It was on top, and it looked old. Like you could sell that in an auction. I mean, it's probably 100 years old. I don't know.
They just redid the clock tower in the Hillsdale Courthouse. Spent millions and millions of dollars to get it done.
Is that ever going to get done?
It's finally done, yeah.
You go to court in that courthouse now? Or there's no scaffolding out front?
Yeah.
I think it's all
Last
I go
time-
to some court. So there's a court there, and then there's a court across the street. One of them's circuit, one of them's district. I always get them mixed
all
up.
that money, and it's not under one roof, huh?
No, for some reason they just
I'll
can't
tell
get
you
that
what,
done.
I did attend a
They actually want to build another building for another court.
Well, you
okay.
might as well
Yeah.
just keep building.
I'm not
Hillsdale has
joking.
that much court going on, huh?
Or they're gonna make one room. They're gonna make one-room courthouses where it's just every judge has its own.
Well, that's what they want. Every judge wants their own court, so they
Right.
can run it for 5-6 hours every other third day or something.
Yeah, if they feel like
Instead of
it.
being able to, if they just shared their courthouse or courtroom, they could do it in one building.
Two
But
things come to mind. One, I went to a hearing, I don't know, a year ago or so, with the Hillsdale versus Hillsdale GOP crap that you guys have been through for a few years.
yeah, I lost track how many times I've been to court.
So I went down there to be supportive of you guys, and that old school courtroom I was in with those old seats and everything, freaking beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's so uncomfortable.
That-
Yeah, it's still there.
yeah. It's
They only
almost-
did the outside.
It's almost something you should keep. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it is beautiful. That is a beautiful.
All the woodwork and stuff.
Unbelievable. And ours is old school too, but not like that.
Yeah, our courthouse is.
It's
I
got
mean,
the
it's
big
got-
bookcases with all the law books on it and
yeah,
stuff.
like,
Which one do you pull to open the secret door though?
Right?
oh, I'm sure there's one. But I will give Hillsdale. That's beautiful. Here's the thing. Jackson County court building. We went through budget cuts to support a shortage of the sheriff's department, and they took 100,000, 200,000, whatever, from the court building. And I'm like, do we need a court building like that anymore? This is how court goes anymore. It's by Zoom.
Yeah.
Attorneys are laughing all the way to the bank. They've raised their rates. They never hardly leave the office.
Nope.
Yep.
For anything. The whole beginning process, pre-trial, all that is done. Zoom, in district court. If you plead guilty, everything. Do we need court buildings the size that we have?
we're spending
Why are they
millions-
making them bigger? Do they need to make them smaller?
Millions and millions of dollars when the judge could be in her robe, in their room,
Yeah.
in their house room, literally holding court.
The only time is like when you haul them in. I'm sure there's other times.
But no, even in the jail.
Is the guys that have been locked up.
Yeah, but they're
We're
even
not-
doing Zoom
They
on.
have Zoom
trial
on-
a felony.
Yeah, they do Zoom from the
They do
jail.
Zoom.
They don't even bring them to the
That's
courthouse
right.
anymore.
That's right. We've been do that with a family member.
Yeah.
Arraignment.
Yeah, I watch it all the time on any of the court camera shows or anything like that. We watch a lot on my other show, and it's always like, here in the county jail, appearing via Zoom. Here's blah blah blah, and
I remember back in the day
crazy.
going up to the court building. You could be there for the most routine thing in the world, civil action, whatever. Unfortunately, I've been through a lot of them on both sides of the fence. That's when I learned that I know enough law to just get myself in trouble. But you'd be up there, normal guy, court hearing, and you see a sheriff's deputy coming, escorting 5-6 guys from the jail over to a cell that you were sitting right next to because they had arraignment or something. None of that happens anymore.
No.
None of that happens anymore. So why do we have... Can we reduce the size of that?
I think we can, and I just thought of something
No one
random
wants to ask that question. I'm about ready to.
with especially in Jackson, with the cuts to the sheriff's department because of the millage and whatnot. Do you know that, unless I'm wrong, beforehand, when you went to the courthouse, they had whatever security.
Yeah.
Now the sheriff's deputies.
They do. I forgot why there's a change with that.
Because it's the same way at the FOC building.
Oh, sheriff's deputies are there. So I think, though, that the budget for the FOC has to cover the cost of that. I think the budget for the...
I give them enough money,
the
they
courthouse
probably
have
can
to
afford
cover
it.
that. So it's not coming from the sheriff's budget.
Right.
And there was some...
But it would still, in the long run, I'm sure it's budgeted.
Those were idiots that worked security. You can't run a cop down there. But, yeah, we're using sheriff's deputies.
Yeah,
instead
sheriff's
of a
deputies.
private security company. Remember, I think that...
It used to be...
think
Who was at the DHS building? Whoever that was.
That is state, and that's still a private security.
Yeah, that same company was the one that did FOC at least.
Yeah.
And I think did the courthouse.
I think everything county related now, the sheriff's deputies.
It's crazy.
They're taking retired sheriff's deputies.
Yeah, I noticed that they're
and
usually
they put them in them roles.
older women and older men. So probably retired or close to retirement.
And so I forget what the reason for that.
I was just curious.
Whether it's legitimate or not, I feel better maybe having some sheriff's deputies around.
I mean, I feel like there should be sheriff's deputies inside the courthouse somewhere anyway.
Usually in the courtroom, like in a felony trial.
They always got the is it called a bailiff there still?
Yeah, but they're not usually deputies.
So that's the thing.
They're deputies of the court, but they're not.
Do have those bailiffs in those blue or black coats, but I think they work for the state. That's weird. I don't know what the scenario is.
During
I'm not messing with anyone.
The only thing the only one I really encountered was for family court, and the bailiff that judge had was, I mean, he was a big like portly Asian guy who had his Special Olympics trophies on his desk.
Cool.
So I don't think he was a sheriff's deputy. Maybe.
Yeah,
his name was like Ting Ting or something. Like literally, it was something super racist sounding, and I can't remember what it was.
This Jackson County Sheriff is the first sheriff's department to partner with ICE.
I saw that.
They call it 287G program.
People are fired up about it.
No matter in hell. Our sheriff, we're not all okay. If ICE needs assistance, our sheriff's department will assist. Our sheriff's department isn't actively out looking for illegal aliens, from what I understand. But this is for you pick up a guy on an outstanding warrant, and then he's also illegal. This allows our jail to hold them. Our jail deputies have to go through some special training to do so, and we will then, if they get bonded out on the warrant that they're there for, we can continue to hold them because there's an ICE warrant or whatever they call it. But oddly, Jackson's the first county in the state to take this. Now, there's other conservative sheriffs out there that could do this. I don't know if it's just a new thing offered and Sheriff Schutte jumped on it or not. A month ago or so, I was in a conversation with Sheriff Schutte, and I hope I'm not exposing anything. It's a bit of a money grab. The ICE is will pay the sheriff's department and those jails to help participate in this program. So I think it could be a...
well, you'd think that Hillsdale, being the most conservative
Sure.
place ever, That sheriff would be all over it, but no, he's
yeah,
not.
and then our jail only holds them waiting for ICE for an additional 48 or 72 hours, but we'll at least hold them until ICE can come pick them up. Where other jails, if you get bonded out on the warrant you're on, and there's an ICE warrant, they just cut you loose. Mm-hmm. And so I'm happy Sheriff Schutte stepped up, man.
Well, and honestly, I'm happy as well. And I think that at first you think, well, they already have a budget concerns, but it's not like the federal government isn't paying to house these people for those 72 hours.
It wasn't explained that way.
I'm reading through the article from the Detroit Free Press,
and I seen a comment. Hey, we are struggling with money for our jail and our sheriff's department. Why are we going to take this on? It's because it's.
We're probably getting a kickback too. We're probably getting more than what it costs to house them.
Shouldn't they be in that jail anyway?
Yeah.
Regardless of any of that?
They're criminals.
Right. Like, shouldn't they be in that jail? And the federal government's going to pay for it. Wouldn't that solve your problem?
Why did we even have to create a program? That's your freaking job to go out to people that arrest people that broke the law. They broke the law entering the country illegally.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
We're celebrating people doing their jobs.
If we find
bring another federal law and see what a sheriff's deputy's going to do to you. You're in jail.
This situation actually is perfect because it's the whole idea. We're not the sheriff's department's not looking for them, but if they're there, so that means that this criminal broke a law other than the original law they broke. So it's this is an habitual criminal.
They arrest people all the time for lesser offenses, but they're going to turn an eye, not pick them up on a ICE detainer or wherever the hell they call it. That seems insane to me.
They take people to jail for no insurance in Hillsdale.
Oh yeah. I've seen it here.
I think in Jackson they cut.
Oh no, they just want the money, and then
they'll tow your.
Jackson they cut you loose.
But they'll tow your shit.
Or like,
and they tow you.
Yeah. They'll impound you. That was a big. I don't know. Recently, I've seen more of it. A big push of impounding your.
They used to arrest you for like driving suspended.
No,
they don't want to mess with you. They give you a ticket. It's going to cost you $500, $600, $700, $800 the time you're all said and done on that. But yeah, I think because there's no room in the jail, I suspect.
So we're going to punish all the people that can't afford all this stuff, but all the illegal immigrants they're totally fine.
That's good.
Yeah, they don't need any of it either.
They're a they call it compromised minority or whatever.
So not only have you broke a federal law while you were here, you've broken local laws too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're already in the jail,
minding your own business, trying to stay under the radar as an illegal alien, illegal person that's here. Keyword illegal.
You can say illegal alien. It's cool.
Yeah, the alien. So, but yeah, Sheriff Schutte program 287G. Mm-hmm. Don't like FOFA in Jackson County, right? Right, Kevin?
Yes.
If you're an illegal and you got warrants,
yes,
they're picking you up on all of them. They're gonna hold you. You call your bail bondsman, he'll bail you out, and you're still gonna sit there because he can't bail you out on a federal.
Yeah, and you meant FAFO, but I understood. Fuck around, find out. Yeah, it's okay.
Go to Lansing or something.
Yeah, go to one of those sanctuary cities or some shit.
City. Ann Arbor.
They want you.
Well, they got a crazy sheriff over there.
I try not to go to Ann Arbor anyway, so might as well just. Well, there's a lot of them in Adrian too, so I don't know why that's a thing.
I'll skip over Leone Township for a minute, and we'll talk about something maybe me and Lance both know. How do you feel about Axe My Tax, Lance?
Anything that sounds like that sounds pretty good. I've heard a lot of things about it from both sides, all sides.
I have too. I lived the first round of Axe My Tax, and we're about to or beginning to live the second round. It sounds great to me. I always do question, how do you? We gotta axe a lot of money that we spend.
Well, it's about the buckets,
right? Right.
Which is so hard to explain, but if you see the graphic, it makes sense.
I'm part of local government. There could be some cuts. We need to focus on what priority of how to spend money. I regret a vote I just had the other day. That won't happen again. But
we took care of that.
when you take the basics and you take millages, I hate millages, but they pass. That means the people of that community passed a millage. If Axe My Tax passes, aren't you slapping the voters in that community in the face by eliminating now that millage that they voted yes on? I understand the trickery in millages. I get it. But the people of that community did approve a millage. Now that'll be gone and everything. Okay, so how do you fund these programs in the buckets, like Kevin said?
Yeah.
We had Dave Jones here. So that's the big question. I'm supportive of Axe My Tax. I am. I say.
I think it's short-sighted to think, oh, well, we approved this millage and now this and that, but in the fact that if you're a resident, because overall you're going to save a lot more money over time than you are, with this millage.
Well,
it's going to be more beneficial in the long run.
You know where it is you don't own your property. So part of Axe My Tax, the silver lining here is the government can't never take your property for not paying your property taxes. What a
It eliminates
that
tyrannical issue this even come up.
Yeah, why is that too much to ask?
This country was built on the idea that no taxation without representation, throwing some tea into a bay or a harbor,
well,
but now we just
that.
live with a ridiculous amount of taxes. My stance.
Let's say you paid on your home for 30 years, you paid it off. Ma and Pa Kettle out there, you got 5 acres, nice little home out there. Pa Kettle passes away. Ma Kettle's short on money. Next thing you know, she's losing her home. Are you out of your freaking mind?
It's beyond that. Think of generational land. For generations, a farm has been in there, and then the farm go. And that's the story as old as time. You see, like, oh, we're about to lose the family farm. Well, it's becoming more and more of a thing because of the taxation is so high.
I've seen communities. Jackson's not so much like this, or my township. I've seen communities go out of their way, hoping that person they can take their property on back.
Oh yeah, it's property that they want for whatever reason, and you can fight eminent domain. We know a guy.
It's beyond eminent domain. You just lost your shit because you didn't pay your property.
They're hoping they don't have to go through eminent domain.
After 3 years, they take it. Okay.
Yep. Bye.
Lived it with a business barely hung on year by year.
Sheriff come kick you out.
Yeah, they sure do.
Sheriff will come kick you out quicker with that than they will come kick out a bad renter.
Yeah, or a squatter.
Yes, that's so.
Or a squatter.
Or a squatter.
Kevin and I know how to deal with squatters.
Well, probably not the official way to do it. Yeah. Fucker, if I not. I mean, just don't smoke meth in the empty apartment that my family owns. It's a bad idea.
It doesn't include the police. I'll tell you that.
No.
Yeah.
No. It doesn't involve some tossing.
So it actually gets something done.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got it done.
So you got to look
He didn't come back.
Most squatters. You've read the horrible stories where some might have some resources. Most squatters don't have resources. Then what are they going to do? Most of them have warrants.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Call the cops. Throw them out. Throw them out on their head with their shit.
Yeah, and they don't want to go to jail because they don't get drugs in jail.
Right. More than likely they have warrants. They're not going to call the cops on you and create this whole. Their meth heads have warrants. Whatever their problem is, 90% of the time, a squatter is that. Hire some goons. I don't care if it costs $200 and you can't do it yourself. Throw them out on their head.
Yeah.
Throw them out on their head. What's going to hurt? I have a different approach.
As calm-headed as I am.
Is that where you do the tag, this is for entertainment purposes only?
No. This is the way that we should all handle it.
Yeah.
This is not legal advice. Consult your lawyer. But
no, very true. The more I know the law.
But consult your lawyer. Don't consult the sheriff. Consult your lawyer.
Yeah, sheriff's going to.
Sheriff's going to tell you no.
Don't consult your attorney either until you need to, because that'll.
He's going to charge you.
Yeah, two-sided answer.
Exactly.
Suck.
You might as well file the eviction for the squatter.
Yeah. I have
8 months later.
God,
Yeah, right.
I'm somewhat friends with a couple of attorneys, and all of them talk out both sides of their mouth. Well, I don't know. You probably can you just tell me the answer here?
Well, in Michigan,
they don't know.
Michigan is actually one of the better states as far as squatters go.
Florida.
Florida's pretty good, but Michigan is pretty based with that, and the fact that there's a lot more rights to the property owner, but there still is so many hoops to jump through if you want to do it legitimately.
If you're in Metro Detroit area, it's probably different than Jackson.
Yeah, but if you're in Metro Detroit, you just let them have it.
Yeah,
it's not worth it.
Anyways, Axe My Tax, it's relaunched, and I wish them well. Here's my opinion. years being in politics now, you're pissing in the wind. If you ain't got $10 million, you ain't getting it across the line.
Well, the real question is, why isn't there somebody in our government picking that up and running it through there?
I know it.
They get paid with the taxes.
Why isn't
How are
the-
they going to be rich if they don't get the taxes?
Why
Apparently
isn't
they
the
haven't convinced the
why isn't
state
the
rep.
Republican Party supporting it? Why don't they have
Yeah.
16,000 people on it with?
Because I think there's too many unknown questions about basic funding.
Right.
Yes, waste has to be. Michigan needs a Doge. Most communities needs a Doge. But there is basic funding that, in my opinion, they haven't answered how they're going to pay for. They talk about buckets.
The buckets. And like I said, it makes sense when you see the graphic, and I wish I could find the graphic, but
Dave Jones
it's hard to
ain't part of it.
explain. But Dave Jones is the one that explained the buckets to me.
And, I think he's supportive of Axma Tax. He's had a problem. He's not part of it. We do have a guy in the community. Every community has a Axma Tax captain. Anyways, back to Axma Tax. The Jackson GOP will have the petitions available probably in the coming week. I'll put it on our social media. Come up, sign the darn petition. I will sign it. I am not circulating. I always go back to this. The only good citizens initiative that I've seen pass in 10 years, not is the process sucks, but it's the reality, is Unlock Michigan 1. The timing is right. They came at it with $10 million or more.
Yeah,
You're gonna
17
screw
million
around
is what I
and
found.
come to me with a citizens initiative, even though it's beautiful in thought, and you only got $100,000, you're wasting my time. I'll sign the damn thing. I ain't circulating nothing.
Well, I can say that the Hillsdale Conservative Party does the same thing. We got petitions, and I think we got a couple circulators too.
Yeah, and great. That's great. By
So
the
we
way,
got 2 out of how many parties in the state doing it?
right. They have to have 60,000 signatures. I will say they're a little more organized this time than last time. Who knows? They might get the signatures. It might end up on the ballot. Then they got to sell it to the ballot. But I will tell you, when people read elimination of property taxes, when it's on the ballot finally, that could be helpful.
That'll be helpful. Yeah.
It can't hurt, that's for sure.
The way the system's set up for citizens initiatives, and maybe it should be that difficult, prevents good citizens initiatives getting across the line, and Axma Tax is definitely in that. So I'll be supportive, and I'm glad there's people out there circulating. You're not going to see me setting up a table.
Well, the fact that our own representatives aren't doing it in the first place
It does make you wonder.
It's the problem. That's the problem.
Like-
Well, once again, how are those representatives going to get rich if there is no taxes for them to get rich off of?
So during the
I honestly think that's an issue that is in their head. I mean, it's
for the
sad.
establishment, sure.
It's sad, but
even
it's
some
true.
of the best state representatives in Michigan, Jim DeSanta, and there's Matt Maddock. There's a lot of them. I haven't seen them fully embrace putting Axma Tax to the forefront.
Well, because they know it won't pass in there.
Yeah, it's a waste of their.
And it'll also expose a lot of establishment people in the Republican Party.
No, maybe that's where it needs to happen. I think DeSanta has.
You say it's like
come
it's a
out
bad thing.
publicly supportive, but he's not spearheading it or something.
Well, it simply won't pass. There's no
Yeah.
possible way.
So maybe that's why they're not. Just ask the question: why aren't they pushing this forward? Is that it?
I think too many unanswered questions. I think you're right. And the fact that if it doesn't go through or it goes south, you don't want your name attached to it. If you're a politician, then could be detrimental.
I don't know. Some of those guys don't care.
Well, why not fight the good fight? And
There's a song about fight the good fight.
No, I think that's the issue with a lot of
So
politicians
do you
is they
know
don't.
if the Citizens Initiative gets on the ballot and passes, that the state legislature then has an opportunity to take it up and change it before it goes on the ballot? That's how that process works.
That's weird.
So if
I didn't know that.
We got the signatures. Do we put it on the ballot, or do we take it up as a legislature and change it to better fit their need?
That sounds like a whole waste of money. Why don't they just take it up as legislator and
Throw it on the ballot.
propose it that way?
then they can't manipulate it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always something.
I forget which one in the last few years they did that to and manipulated and screwed it all up.
See, they don't want to do it, but then when it gets done, they'll fix it for everybody.
Oh yeah, my the way I've always brought it up. My grandmother, 92 years old, she remembers back when they introduced the deposit law for the soda, and the way that they put it on the ballot was like yes was no, but no was yes.
Yeah.
And that's what the only reason it passed is like because everybody's like, oh, I thought I voted no, but
So, traveling, I don't know, a handful of states over the years, Michigan deposit law at 10 cents. Are the side of our roads any cleaner than Indiana that don't have one? No. It costs grocers a lot of money.
Well, what about all the people who live by Ohio-Indiana line? And because Ohio, they got
you have to sort your cans between Ohio and
well, not only do you have to sort your cans,
Yeah.
but a lot of Ohio stores now have Michigan cans,
Of course they do.
but they can't charge the deposit.
So during race weekends here, being in Jackson, Michigan, near Michigan International Speedway when I was younger, the Boy Scouts and stuff like that used to run around the infield and pick up people's bottles and cans to return for a fundraiser. And I've done it myself too, but living in that area, some of them you could get aren't worth 10 cents. It's got to say 10 cents
Yeah,
on
it's
it.
got to say that.
And now the machines that you put them in, that the grocers pay a lot of money for,
and you better hope that grocer carries
take
that
it.
brand.
Won't take it. The barcode doesn't read it. It's out. So we're close enough to the Indiana-Ohio border to where we deal with that.
I throw all my
Like
cans
race
away. I'm
weekend.
not going to waste my life over $1.20 for a 12-pack.
You know what? I throw them all away.
I do.
I'm not the richest guy in the world. I don't mess with that. That
No.
10 cents is the cost of purchasing that.
Amen. I put it. Yeah, it's built into the price for me.
It is.
I mean,
I drink Diet Faygo Pop.
Government did a good job there, didn't they?
well, it's recycling.
I drink Diet Faygo Pop. I buy them $2.50 a 12-pack. It costs me another
Because you have
$1.20.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm not doing it. I haven't taken them back in years. I don't want to stand in line with them.
That's the thing. Yeah, I don't.
Have you been to Meijer at the wrong time to take returns
people
back?
just piles of them.
What?
I just go like closing time. Latest you can get.
Well, now there is a closing time at least.
Find
There
a local
wasn't a
party
closing
store.
time.
Well,
at
that's
Meijer.
the next thing. Back when it was 24 hours, it didn't matter. You just go at 3 in the morning.
Oh, that's
true.
I love to shop at 3 a.m.
Since COVID, Meijer has not returned to 24 hours.
No,
Has Walmart?
No.
Walmart is
not
across the country are starting to reopen, but not in Jackson.
I did
And
see
I don't
some-
think in Jonesville either.
Some of the Jackson McDonald's is, I think there's 2 of them now are 24 hour. Again.
One, Airport Road.
I thought I read where another one is.
Airport was the only one I was aware. Everyone else closed at midnight that I know of.
COVID changed a lot of things. I being from the former bar business, it used to be you ran your stuff till 2.
We got out at the right time.
Karaoke and live bands are, start at 7, they're done at 11.
Yeah.
This whole 2 o'clock in the morning thing,
And it's dead.
it is dead.
I've been out to a couple out of town bars last couple weeks. Sunday's my only day off, and it's been busier. But then about midnight, 1 o'clock, it gets real dead real fast.
Yep.
Now it's a Sunday night, but still,
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect that.
Boy, I tell you, Kevin, I cut McThirsty's open till 2 o'clock 7 days a week.
Yeah, I know.
We had some slow times, but once that word got out in Jackson that we were one of
It was a
maybe
big rush.
2 on a Monday night or a Sunday night, you get that 12:30 rush.
That last call rush,
15,
yep.
20 people, and now it's usually a bunch of characters you sometimes don't want.
Yeah, they're usually a little seedy.
little on the asshole side, but they do spend. And then another popular one, being open on summer holidays, Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day is a waste of time. I did it anyways, but let me tell you, Thanksgiving
Oh,
and Christmas, your bar open that baby 6, 7 o'clock because we did good Christmas nights.
the 2 biggest nights I personally ever had in sales and tips were Christmas Eve, which it was like a Tuesday, which I think I did $1,500 on my own in that bar. Ooh, that's crazy. And then the other one was Thanksgiving.
Yep, and Christmas night was solid. It really was.
Yeah.
It was us and one other bar in town was open on Christmas.
Just Avenues,
Oh,
right?
and the strip club.
Yeah, just
The
Avenues.
Strip club was open.
And then Roos probably
in the Robbins Roost, yeah. But those summertime ones, 4th of July,
worthless.
no one's coming.
No.
Who wants to sit in a bar?
Especially when it's nice out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually pray it would rain, and even if it rained, you get like 3 or 4 people. It was
How
barely
much
worth
time
it.
we got, Kevin?
We are at
We
1 hour
started
and 20 minutes.
We did start a little late.
Yeah, we're at 1 hour and 20 minutes.
Lance, what do you want to talk about, man?
I'm just here to.
He's like, I'm just here to hang out. Do you want to talk about this iron ore up north?
So I did read that article today.
I was just scrolling through it.
I wondered. I was like, what sparked Kevin's interest in that particular one?
Well, we were talking about the,
Solar panels
just like the energy mandates and whatnot. And I've been up in the Keweenaw and, especially to this area. And I'm looking at it, and I mean, the title of the article is a little bit twisted from what the article's about. Because the title of the article talks about losing millions or $15 million per month because of this Michigan wind and solar mandate.
Let's break this down.
Yeah.
If with the elimination of coal
Mm-hmm.
that comes from the UP, that we're like top 2 supplier of coal.
Number 2 domestic, number 2 biggest domestic mine.
The people in the UP in those regions, that's how they get their energy
Yeah.
is from coal. And with that elimination of coal, is going to boost the cost of energy. Correct?
Yeah,
Is that what
that's what it's coming down to. And they're also talking, because it's iron ore, talking about iron production is also going to suffer because of it.
So
overall, there's a lot of facets.
It ties into horrible-looking solar, industrial solar.
Yeah, in beautiful Upper Peninsula.
Getting bad in Hillsdale.
Hillsdale's with the windmills and
the windmills are ridiculous, and the solars are popping up all over.
We've talked about, I'd rather have the windmills than the solar, just because the windmills at least are a smaller footprint.
Well,
they're worthless. They don't even run half the time.
At least the farmer can farm around the windmill.
Yeah.
Where if you take your 500 acres and load it all with solar, you're not even farming that.
And you can't for the next decade, or so, you can't farm that land either.
It leaches into the soil.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting how you can't have common ore leaching into the rivers, but that's cool. You can have that stuff leaching into the rivers.
Oh yeah, why not?
That brings up a hard issue. I was afraid that the township that I'm a trustee in would have to deal with. Our neighboring township just approved 500 acres. The same people that own the property of that 500 acres own 500 or more on the Leone side, on my side. They have not applied for solar yet. But I'm thinking with Trump, he's cut off the gravy train to the states, that then the states give the money to the energy companies to help supplement these. I think the ones that are already planned maybe be going through, but I see that maybe ending.
I hope so.
Trump's not down with that shit, man.
I'm trying to find it exactly in this article, but because I didn't know anything about it until I scanned through it. Do you know anything about this 2040 initiative? By 2040,
that's when that Michigan is supposed to be totally green.
Okay.
So you eliminate everything
by 2040.
By 2040, it was the goal. That's why we gotta get Whitmer out of there with a Republican.
It might be too late.
But okay, so these energy companies right across the street from where we're sitting is the headquarters of Consumers Energy, and they get money from the state. The state got money from the federal government to supplement this process, this crap.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If the money's cut off at a federal level, then the state don't have money. I'm hoping the gravy train's over. I will say, I remember when Trump took office, that Jenny from the Block Granholm, our former energy secretary and former governor of Michigan, the worst governor we've ever had, worse than Whitmer ever.
Yeah, well,
other than Whitmer and the lockdowns.
Overall, yeah.
Talk about destroying economy. Granholm was terrible, but she was able to send, I don't know, 60 billion, 30 billion or something quickly to Michigan. Her friend Gretchen Whitmer, Granholm's from Michigan, to prop up green energy.
Biden's Secretary of Energy?
Yes.
Is that what it was?
Yes, the former Secretary of Energy. She had no business doing that.
God, no.
That job. She sucked. But yeah, she played a fast one and sent her friend in Michigan 30 billion or something to prop up solar and wind projects prior to Trump coming in and cutting off the gravy train. I did read somewhere where I think Trump or Doge has a way to grab that money back, or maybe the check didn't arrive in Michigan.
That'd be
I
nice.
hope not. I hope not. Here's the problem: coming from a family that owned lands, I do feel for the property owner. So it's hard to be a farmer. Margins are super low.
Well,
I
you
don't
can't
know.
farm anymore unless you have thousands of acres.
Okay.
Unless you sell the
So
solar.
you have a farm.
Or you got your farm paid off and everything's set.
No, it's not
You're-
paid
a
off
hobby
because
farm.
you're just renting it from the government now,
Yeah, pretty much.
You have a farm. You have 1,000 acres.
and you're paying federal rent.
Hey, talk about generational wealth. You know what? I'll keep 500 and farm it, and then I'll lease 500 to the solar company that's paying me 800 or 1,000 or
Yeah.
$1,200 a month per acre.
That's exactly what everybody's doing.
Times that by
That's
500. You don't blame the property owner, the farmer,
Oh no, not at all.
for jumping on.
I would do it.
That's generational wealth. That's real wealth.
Yeah, that's money.
That's setting up 3 generations of your family with a source of income that you don't have to farm. I drive, so I get it.
Well,
So
here's the next
I
stage.
go up to the property
It's
rights.
so bad that farmers have their hands out for that because they can't farm.
They need
Yeah, that's
to-
true.
The process of farming needs to change. Not the process, but the way farmers.
The restrictions and
Right, the
all the
bullshit.
stuff
I
the government places on farmers needs to change.
There it is.
that
There it
there
is.
needs to be more
Farmers
regulation.
don't mind working hard.
No,
for
God,
low
no.
margins.
They
but,
prefer to.
But the way the process is now, it's impossible.
No, you
Well-
can't do it.
Can't do it.
Yeah, local farmers can't compete with these corporate farms. Technically, I mean, I guess is the best way to put it. You know, their margins are so much lower. They have to feed themselves. Where these corporate farms, the chicken farms, especially poultry and the beef and all that.
I've been following
Well, the corporate
a pig
farms,
farmer lately.
they can just pay the fine because they get fined all the time.
Yeah.
They can just pay the fines.
Oh.
Small farmers, they can't pay the fines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But and it's the small farmers. All the small farmers, they can't do that because they can't afford all that stuff. Well, the big farmers can't either. They just pay the fine.
Yeah, this.
So, Lance, you come from a dairy family.
Yeah.
I knew your grandfather. A proud Jersey
Right.
owner. That old boy loved his jerseys. And
We just seen a Van Buskirk. I just seen one of my grandfather's old friends at
Yeah.
the state committee meeting the other night.
Oh, really? Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
He was a proud farmer, loved his jerseys, talked about them all the time. And I think there was a time where it was lucrative to be a farmer, although your grandpa worked a second job as a corrections officer.
Well, that's when it got bad.
Oh, yeah, I guess it would have been. That's when it started. But then we take, like, Hank Choate, who still farms, but, he was a couple generation dairy farmer, and I think he's made some money. It appears that way.
Yeah.
But he had to shut his dairy operation down. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
You can't milk under
Can't milk.
500,000 cows anymore. You can't do it. I don't think you can milk under 500
Now
anymore and make
he
it.
does farm several thousand acres, not just his. He's one of those farmers that leases a lot of land.
And I think a lot of farmers
Crop
do.
farmers aren't really farmers, and they're going to be mad at me for
The
saying that,
landowners.
but
So
yeah,
what-
they're landowners.
Where is
yeah.
there must be, if in a massive amount of property that you're harvesting and every year, there must be an end game of profitability there, or a guy like Hank wouldn't still do it, correct? I mean, you're paying a lease for the land.
Well, you got government write-offs.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
have other businesses, and your farm can take
Now,
losses and all that stuff.
if a guy had 500 of his own and leased another 500, he ain't gonna make no money.
No.
You need to
can't.
step it up big, and you need to lease hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
And you got to have thousands
It's
of
in
acres.
volume, right?
Yeah, it's a volume percentage game.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. It hit me the other day. If you ask something from Hank in the fall during harvest time, you ain't getting it. Him and his family are busy, and I get that. I
Oh yeah,
understand.
you don't have any time. when it's
What about
harvest
the
time.
planting season? I never hear him complain about the planting season. Shouldn't that be just as hectic as the harvest season? Other than you're collecting your money then,
As long as it doesn't rain,
right?
with the machinery you have now, you can have thousands of acres planted in no time.
Is it more stressful at harvest than it is at planting season? Then is what you're saying? I'm not a farmer, dude.
In Michigan, especially in this area, well, I
You
think
got a little
pretty
more
much all-
time to get it planted than you do during the harvest.
Exactly.
Right.
In the weather, in the fall,
Oh,
like
It could be either
wet,
way.
and snowy
Yeah.
and.
Or it could be 75 and beautiful. You
If it's
never
75
know.
and beautiful, everybody's out getting their stuff done because it's about to get bad real quick.
Yeah, they know that.
So how late can you plant, say, corn? Can you go? They're starting right now, probably.
Well, they got 120-day
But
corn.
if
They
you-
got 80-day corn.
Yeah,
all
they have
kinds of
the
different
winter
If you were
corn
putting-
and summer.
If you were putting
Yeah.
a field mid-June, though, you'd probably still be good, and then you would just harvest that later. Or
So you ever heard the thing knee-high by
I
the
was
4th
gonna
of
say,
July?
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing I know about it. Knee high
Now
by
it's
the 4th of
knee-high
July.
by the 4th of June.
Oh.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah,
because they have to jump the gun.
All of,
Yeah.
Well,
all of it's higher than knee high by 4th of July now. It's usually neck high.
Yeah, well, the genetics are different now, too.
Okay.
Knee-high by 4th of July, that's older than me.
Yeah. My grandmother
Like-
says it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I say genetics, it's not people get all crazy about
Yeah,
GMO and
yeah.
stuff, but you can
No.
it's not as crazy as people think.
Yeah,
They can
not
actually-
genetically altered necessarily as is,
Right, it's
but
not-
just the seed,
Right.
The actual seed, yeah.
It's genetics just like human
Yeah.
genetics.
It's
or
just
dog
like
genetics.
it's like
plant
bananas
genetics.
used to taste like banana candy, and now they don't
Right.
because things change.
What was I just thinking about farming? It was a good one. I guess one not too that important.
But yeah,
We live in cornfield. You farmed. Me and Kevin lived near and around cornfields our whole life. And I always like the one, if you haven't baled hay as a kid, it shows. I baled hay.
Oh yeah.
So have I.
I remember baling for a farmer, and we would try to keep count of each bales. He paid you by the bale, and I forget the amount. And whatever it is, we think it is. He'd always short you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do that many. He always shorted you.
I
We
baled
didn't do
hay just
500,
because
you only did
the
150.
girl that I was dating at the time had horses, and they used part of a farmer's field for their horses, and so I just for free went and baled hay one time.
Well, that's a good learning experience to do that for a couple
Baling
seasons.
hay is a nice thing. Nice.
You know
Yeah,
what?
it taught me a lot,
moneymaker,
like
nice
how
thing.
I don't like baling hay.
Not so much in the field, throwing it on the trailer. It's putting it in that old hot barn.
Yeah, it's the barn. It's the worst part. Yeah.
That's where
Yep.
the game gets changed.
Just all
man.
covered in chaff.
Yeah,
all
and
over
it's
it.
hot and humid in them barns, man. Oh,
Yeah.
the old 100-year-old barns, you
Yep.
know. Oh,
Hemp
geez.
roofs. Yeah.
Oh, that'll put you into work ethic mode. I don't know what the hell we talked about today, but it was fun.
No, that was I think it was a good
I got
conversation.
some announcements, important
Yeah.
stuff here.
By the way, I looked it up. Those iron ore mines up in the stuff account for 22% of private employment in the UP.
So, they're on social media. There's one, all these efforts to green energy and change your light bulbs to different bulbs and all the stuff that we've done over the years to save, and save nothing. They just approved a increase electric and gas increase hike with consumers' energy. We ain't saving shit. Our consumers' bills are through the roof anymore. What good is it doing the citizens?
Well, I want to know what happens when, because there's just a big ice storm up there,
Yeah,
and like a literal forest fell down.
yeah. I watched.
I seen a picture of it finally.
too.
I was looking for
Pretty
it. Finally
wild.
found the picture of the forest that literally fell down because of all the ice.
Yeah.
I was
And that's
watching
not going to
trees
damage
just now.
these solar panel
Oh,
things.
it'd be bad. I did see a solar field hit by the ice that was just destroyed or high winds.
Yeah.
But I don't think they blink an eye. Just come out there and replace them.
Well, that's because that's been the natural cycle forever. It's not like
It's a hustle.
you're
It's a scam.
tearing all the forest down. It's
Well, that stuff costs money.
So
It doesn't matter when it's government money, our money.
You know,
it's government money. Is our money.
you go by someone's house, and I got a family member. I was just at his house the other day, my uncle, and he's got solar panels in his yard. We see them on their houses. To me, that's fine. That's your business. Yeah, hopefully you're saving a couple bucks.
Yeah, why not have solar
Like,
panels?
we have a company here in Jackson called Solar Harvest Solar or something,
Yeah.
and they do primarily that kind of solar. Jackson County, for example, took some ARPA money and they put in some solar panels to provide energy to some of our facilities. Okay, I'm cool with that. I get it, but large scale 500, 1,000, 2,000 acres, and then the space that it takes to store at these storage facilities for this energy is huge.
And why are the Democrats the ones pushing it? Aren't they the ones supposed to be, for the environment,
No,
for the animals?
they've thrown that out the window.
Yeah, they gave up. They started losing.
One
and
quick thing about
switching gears.
green energy is in Hillsdale. I think I've told you this before, Lance. As you're driving down US 12 and see the windmills up there, I noticed the farmers that have windmills in their fields all drive brand new farming equipment, man.
Brand new.
Nice stuff, man.
Yeah.
I'm not even a farmer. I'm like, that's a nice rig.
And nice trucks.
Them and their families are loving life. We get to farm. I'm still a farmer.
And tractors cost like $1 million.
Like, they do. There is
Literally. 1.3 for a brand new combine.
Yeah. I knew they were expensive, but when I saw prices
shabby
on them,
equipment in a Hillsdale County.
They're very
farm
shiny.
with a solar-
They're very shiny.
with a windmill. No shabby equipment.
No, not at all.
Not at all, man. And I don't blame them farmers. I get it. Property rights is huge, but
the issue is that the farmers want it.
Yeah.
Because they make the money off of it.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
If they were
All
making,
the people around them are the ones paying for it. Is that?
And I think they know that, and I don't think there's any sense of community left with that. Like, I mean, I think it's a lot of your old school farmers be like, no, why would I do that to my community? But those old school farmers have now passed, and kids own it, and the kids don't want to farm
It's
it.
the grandkids.
Your grandkids, great grandkids, exactly. They don't want to farm it. They don't want to do the hard work.
Told me that
Send me a check.
The solar guys hit him up the last few years 3 times a year.
Oh yeah.
Different solar guys knocking on the door. Wanting to lease his Liberty Township property for solar, and he's a proud farmer, and he tells them to kick rocks.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
How long do you do that though? Before one day,
until you pass away, and then your kids sell it.
Exactly.
The benefit is that his children have committed to keep farming, and he thinks that there's a way for them to continue farming. Kevin, you had a good point. The next generation doesn't want to farm.
Yeah.
So because there's no margin, there's no money. You're not going to live like Grandpa did. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
Not at all. Whole lot of work for a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
I used to see a joke living in Napoleon, Michigan, with a lot of farmers. Mm-hmm. The farmers used to always bitch and cry, but I always noticed Dad drove a brand new pickup truck, and Mom had a brand new Cadillac.
Every time.
And they always had a nice, big, beautiful farmhouse, and everybody was eating. Mm-hmm. So they did complain when maybe there wasn't complaint, but I think that the complaints are legitimate now.
Well, I think that those profits are still staying so low, but the inflation is just so out of control too. So it's it costs more to live, to exist, and so that just cuts your profits even lower.
You know what gets me about farmers, Lance, is good farmers that still exist. They're businessmen, they're mechanics, they're builders, and farmers. They're some of the most versatile humans on the planet.
They're the only ones that know how to do anything.
They
anymore.
know how to fix the
Nobody else knows how anything works.
They know how to build the barn. They know how to.
They're not going to hire that out. Screw that.
Well, they do hire stuff out. But they're resourceful people, man.
They're going to make sure it's done right. That's
Exactly. They're going to sit right there and let the contractors take care of it, but they're going to watch.
Broken up, dirty hands. They sit down once a week and do the books.
Yeah.
Figure the taxes. A lot of these guys, you don't think they would know any of that. They do.
Yeah, on line paper and notebooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, in high school, I had to do the tax books. Like, that was my job. I had to do the taxes every year in high school.
The high school Lance went to taught Robert's Rules of Order.
We talked about that.
Yeah, FFA.
That's...
It's still.
I never even heard of it.
My daughter's in
40.
it. She was present this last time when they're what they did.
Yeah, they might. Yeah, I mean, I went to school here in Jackson, and it wasn't even brought up.
Well, that's basically how Hillsdale's being ran is by Waldron FFA. It's pretty funny, actually.
You're all. Listen, I get why Robert's Rules of Order exist in government, in large meetings, but if you ever want to screw something up where people aren't getting along, let's throw some Robert's Rules of Order in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're used to manipulate.
If you know them, I worked it last night. Todd Gilman's probably half upset with me. I am not a Robert's Rules of Order guy. I have not studied that book, but I've lived it long enough.
If you don't know them and other people know them and they want to get around something, they will get around something if nobody else is there to call them on it.
And there's a million variations that I found of the Robert's Rule of Order. Like, every little entity that uses it. I mean, there is like the Robert's Rules of Order, but the way that it's applied, it's broad.
So we've seen it everywhere. The guy that claims that knows the Robert's Rules of Order are the ones that manipulate it the most.
Oh yeah.
And, Yeah.
You can quickly figure out who the ones are that want to manipulate it, because the goal for Robert's Rules of Order
Is order.
Very respectful, orderly
Yes.
conversation to be had by everybody. Everybody gets to hear both sides, and anybody who wants to cut off the conversation and use Robert's Rules of Order to shut everything down and run something through, they're the problem.
Yeah.
It's very
That's-
easy.
Yeah.
See it work.
Yeah, well.
See it work. All right.
Yeah, let's
We're going to wrap this up, man.
yeah, let's get these
I
announcements
need
out.
everybody, you know what, guys, if you're into elimination of property tax, go to axmitax.com. Learn all about it.
I'll put it in the description because I think I took it out.
Jackson GOP will have the petitions available here within a week. Go to jxngop.org, not only for that information of when and how, but other things. We have an online store with 36 items, kind of cool hats, koozies, t-shirts, things like that. That's jxngop.org. Let's see here. I wanted to talk about billionaires today. Guess that's another show. But anyways, I'm a member of the Grand New Party Pack. I need you to go to gmppac.com, Grand New Party Pack. I mention it every week. If you're ever thought about running for any public office, school board, township, county commission, whatever, go there. We have tools there to help you get started. A lot of people sit back. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. There's a way to do this. Grand New Party Pack is a great resource for that. That's gnppac.com.
Yep, that's
All
in the
right.
description for
Big
sure.
news. This podcast studio sits in the Jackson GOP headquarters. 10,000 square feet, people. I'm offering this podcast studio for conservative candidates and organizations. You want to use it? Give me a call. Guess what? You can find my phone number at
jxngop.com or
.org.
.org.
But we're having our official ribbon cutting and open house this Thursday, the 17th. The members of the Jackson GOP have worked their butts off. One, to obtain this location that offers so much, the money to pay for it that costs so much, and the work we had to put into it. And Lance, you've seen it. We've done an amazing job.
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, this is
better
the
than
first
it
time
was
Lance
last
has
year.
been here, I think.
Amazing job.
At least
The
been in the
open
studio. At
house,
least.
we got the Jackson County Chamber of Commerce is going to help us with a ribbon cutting at 6 o'clock Thursday outside the suite. We're at 209 East Washington, Jackson, Michigan, Suite 320. We're going to say some words, cut the ribbon, yay!
Yeah.
Go inside, and then it's a true open house from 6 until 8. Stop by anytime. We're giving tours. We're explaining the services that we offer, and a great food. We got a potluck. Judy and the ladies, my God, the food they make.
It's good.
Just
It's
come.
totally worth it.
Yeah, it's old lady potluck. It's
Thursday the
great.
17th, right there's the flyer, 6 o'clock for the ribbon cutting. If you missed that, that's fine. We're here till 8 o'clock. Come in when you can and check this out. It is a big deal. It could be, by far, the best and largest county GOP headquarters in the state. I know Kalamazoo has a beautiful, beautiful facility. I know Oakland County does also.
They don't have a
I
podcast
was
studio.
talking to one of
I
them.
don't think they got it opened up to anybody that wants to use it though,
I know, or a podcast studio.
or a podcast studio.
Yes, we are offering a lot of services here. Oakland County's got a nice place. They've got a gob of money. I was talking to one of the Wayne County chairs, because there are 3 Wayne County parties, because it's so they don't even have an office in Wayne County. One of them, they had to close it down. We are fortunate to have this. Come check it out and check out the services that we can offer to help get Republicans elected.
Yes.
All right. Coming up, this just announced, June 14th. I think I did say something about it last week prematurely, Kevin. Our first ever golf scramble outing. It's called Flags, Fathers, and Freedom. It is on Father's Day weekend. It's the Saturday of Father's Day weekend. There's all the stuff, $400 a team, a whole bunch of stuff that golfers like to win money and get involved in. It's all right there on the flyer. Kevin, can you bring up the sponsorship one?
Yeah, I'm working on that right now. I don't know where.
We have sponsorship opportunities. my phone's been ringing off the hook since I officially announced this yesterday on social media. I think Turning Point Action's stepping up to the plate and help us out, and Americans for Prosperity is putting a team together. Our vice chair, Nate Edwards, is a golfer and loves these kind of outings and knows a lot of golfers.
I'll get that flyer up in a second.
By the way, Jackson County has a lot of golf courses. This is at Hankard Hills. It is a public course, but it's one of the better. It's a top-notch golf
Hankard
course.
Hills is very, very nice.
Very, very nice clubhouse. $400 a team. But something we added into this, if you're not a golfer like me, you can come at 1 o'clock for the after golf outing luncheon for $25. Come and hang out with all the golfers. It is a fundraiser, ladies and gentlemen. So, yes, it's fun to golf and participate. But at the end of the day, we're raising money to do what we do to help elect Republicans. Guess what? You can find out information on that at jxngop.org.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
Give me just a second. I'm pulling up the.
We have sponsorship opportunities. Yeah, I texted it right after that.
Yeah, it didn't come up in my thing very well. But give me just a second. It should be up in a second. Where did it go?
You like our new logo?
I do.
Yeah, we used to try to promote JCRC. What the hell?
Yeah, the JXN GOP, it makes way more
We
sense.
can get out of here and just push everybody to jxngop.org for sponsorship information if you'd like.
Yeah, that's fine. I was trying to find. I downloaded it. I just don't know where it went.
Okay.
Let
We have
me
sponsorship
send this
opportunities
over.
from $5,000 to $2,500 to $1,000 to flag sponsor a whole information, all that stuff that you do at golf outings. That's at jxngop.org. And if
Yes.
you do not know that website by now, because I've said it 12 times.
Yeah, it's down in the description, guys. So if you need that, make sure you follow this channel, like this video, share it to all your friends, and we'll be back next
Thanks
Monday.
for hanging out with us, Lance.
Yeah, thanks,
No
Lance.
problem.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Last second guest, but it's always good to have you. 2 p.m. next Monday. I'm sure we don't have a guest lined up yet. But other than that, I'm trying to think if I had anything.
Enjoy your week. It's supposed to be a decent week.
Yeah, definitely come out to that ribbon cutting. It's going to be a good time. So
Eat some Judy food.
yeah, eat some Judy food.
Watch out for all the road construction.
Oh yeah, lots of
By the
construction.
way, I was coming back from Hillsdale Friday night from the state committee Pizza and Politics.
30,000 deer.
30,000 deer.
5 deer. 4 of them standing on the side of the road just waiting to jump out in front of me like nothing. One of them was in front of me, but at a far distance. As I turned off 12 onto 127, I'm coming up that hill. I look over and it looks like a stump was on the edge of the road. I'm like, well, that ain't good. As I got closer, there's a coyote. So 5 deer and a coyote on my way home. 30 miles.
Right?
Hillsdale.
We got all kinds
Jackson.
of wildlife, man.
Holy
Yeah,
smokes.
a single coyote though is
turkeys
always
everywhere.
concerning. If you ask me, but
Unbelievable.
all right, guys, we're gonna get out of here.
See you.
We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Bye.